Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to another episode of Trudge Report. This is a recovery-based podcast, but don't worry, if you're not sober or not ready to be sober, we talk about plenty of other things, including sports, trending topics, and a good bit of nonsense. My name is Sean and I'm your host. I'm joined by my good friends and fellow trudgers, Bill, Corey, and Greg. You can check out new episodes of Trudge Report every Tuesday. Listen on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Later every week, you can watch our episodes on YouTube and Facebook, but please be sure to download on your listening platforms. Remember to like and subscribe on all social media outlets with the handle @TrudgeReportPod. We are brought to you by Stella Mix Podcast Management and our wonderful producer and editor, Miss Janine Stella. Gentlemen, good evening. Let's start with Bill. How are you tonight, sir?
I'm pretty good. Just got informed by a reliable source, and I read an article about Steve-O having some breast augmentation done coming up, which he just told the public about. And that was a little weird to read that, but he did confirm that he's going to take it to that level for comedy.
What's that mean?
He's going to get tits?
Yeah,
Wow.
There you go. There it is. So I don't know
He just got a tattoo on his face of a certain male appendage, and this is just stupid. It's not even funny.
Yeah, I think he's desperate for he's always been an attention guy, clearly, but like just come out and tell us, dude. It's all good, dude. You know what I mean? But I don't get the comedy thing. I bring it up because I also just watched the beginning of the Olympics, and that was horrific.
Are you talking about the torch?
The whole thing, man. Did you watch any of it?
What happened to just fucking running? Like everybody runs and then you light the torch. It was like a movie.
I saw them all in the boats. I saw all the boats. Is that what you guys are talking about?
Boats was cool. The boats was all right. Like,
whatever.
Hey, I'm a USA guy all the way, right? And their representation of the East, like, but I can understand why the other people are like, screw these crazy like devil worship. It was like a demonic ceremony, dude. So
LeBron looked pissed holding that flag in the rain on the boat. He was like, dude, what am I doing?
Did he have a wig on?
No, he had a poncho on though.
Oh, okay.
Like a plastic poncho.
I saw him. I know.
Did Snoop Dogg crip walk with the torch?
Don't get me started on Snoop Dogg too, Corey.
Again,
that demonic figure.
Nice.
Snoop did well. He did good. Snoop did good.
He's not an athlete.
No, that's a good point.
Why is he running with the torch? He's not an athlete. This is the Olympics, for fuck's sake.
I don't think I've ever seen Snoop Dogg run. Like,
Celine Dion on top of the Eiffel Tower was cool. You know what I mean? I'll say that. She was like,
I didn't see it. I got to look back. I didn't see any of that other stuff. I'd like to see it just for the hell of it.
They can keep the rest, man. It was horrific and embarrassing, in my opinion. So that's how my nights go.
We might have to next week do like a Olympics, some sort of deep dive, because it'll be going on. And there's so much. I listened to a podcast, Olympic deep dive podcast, and there's so much interesting stuff about this one in France, and the pollution of the river that they're all going to be swimming in, like just a bunch of stuff.
Spoiler alert, for our viewers, next week Corey will be here. So if we want to have some Olympic events where him and I compete,
don't we have a match?
I promise I'll wipe the floor with his ass.
Yeah, we already have a match scheduled. You
Red Bull drinking contest
for October though, Corey. I think that was sometime in October.
August 3rd. Muni lot or something.
That's next Friday. So
that's next Saturday.
Listen to me right now. I've been training you, some bitch. I've been training. I've been picking up things and putting them down.
To the audio listeners next week, send in some suggestions for the Greg and Corey games. They've got a few other chaperones, Carmine and Kyle there. So we can get a whole powwow if you guys have any game ideas for these guys. I suggest the Red Bull chugging contest, but someone will probably end up in the ER. But
I say we turn heel and just beat the crap out of Kyle and Carm. Because every time we travel, they tend to get targeted anyway.
Dude, they'll be defenseless. They'll be defenseless.
Just make sure you do that on camera. That's during the podcast. That's all I got. My only request.
Real quick, let's go around. Corey, how you doing, buddy? What's going on with you? Are you home yet? Are you back in Florida yet?
No, I'm in nature. I've left my family and I've just wandered into the woods. And
he's filming Blair Witch 7.
And I got Wi-Fi somehow. But
Blair Witch 7.
Jersey Shore edition.
Oh my God. I'm gonna hang up. See you guys.
See you later.
No, I come home to Florida Sunday. So I'm excited. I'm at my mother-in-law's now. We're gonna celebrate her birthday tomorrow.
It's hot as shit here, Corey.
Oh, I'm not ready for that, but I am ready for my own bed that I haven't seen in 2 months. So
do you want me to like go home and turn your AC on, or do you guys leave it on?
it's at a reasonable
because your
temperature.
family hasn't been home in weeks either, right?
No, but we have cats and they like it to stay around 77. So
got it. Okay.
All is well at my house. We've had friends check in on it.
Good. Joe Ray.
If you guys want to if you guys want to mow my lawn, you could go do that, but
Camden will do it for a small price.
That's fine.
I won't collect any commission, I promise.
Yeah. I bet you won't.
Corey, are you a Tempur-Pedic guy?
No. I don't even know what my bed is.
Okay.
I have no idea. You know where it's from? Cheap Sleep. Listen, I don't you people with your mattresses, there's better things to spend money on. I'm just saying. Drugs.
You spend 8 hours a day on it.
Can't overestimate a good night's sleep though, Corey. I shouldn't be the one to speak. I got Handy Randy Moving and Storage found my king size, my California King a few years ago, and I paid him $50 for it. And it's a glorious mattress. Glorious. Well,
yeah, I'd expect to. Yeah, Handy Randy, huh? All right.
Handy Randy Moving and Storage.
Sounds glorious.
It's also the husband of my babysitter.
Ah. Does he have a company named Handy Randy? That's literally okay.
That's it. Handy Randy Moving and Storage, brother.
I think I've paid him before.
Yeah,
probably
for a handy.
We got to come up with a better name.
Dude, seriously.
That and the Dove's Nest. We need to find better names. They just sound.
So someone told me something. I looked this thing up on Sunbiz. He's like 20 of them. It's like Handy Randy AC, Handy Randy.
Yeah, he does everything. He really does like jack of all trades. The other day he was changing a transmission in one of his vans, like just by himself. He knows everything.
Good guy.
Good guy to know
for sure.
Greg Tavius, what's up, buddy? How are you?
Feeling good, man. Feeling good.
Cool.
It was a long, crazy week of concerts. Had a great time. Definitely felt my age over the last couple days, for sure. Catch up with me, but definitely some highlights of the week, man. Chicago and Earth, Wind, and Fire was great. Earth, Wind, and Fire stole the show. And I kind of talked to Corey and a couple of the other guys about this, man, but like so far this year, seen Dave a handful of times, jam band kind of stuff, seen a country concert, went and saw, like some old school stuff or whatever. But going to see the Foo Fighters in New York City at Shea Stadium, now it's called Citi Field, but it used to be Shea Stadium, and just watching them put on a 3.5 hour rock show was fantastic. Just good old rock and roll. So love 'em or hate 'em, they left it all out there. They literally rocked the place from the minute they stepped on stage until 11 o'clock when we all went home. And then this past Monday, Red Hot Chili Peppers, which was not only nostalgic for me, but just a fantastic concert start to finish. They really those guys are like almost 60.
It's crazy. I know.
And they were rocking out too. So it was fantastic.
I saw them with Carm and Derek in like 2018 in Orlando, and it blew my mind back then how just phenomenal they still were live in concert.
Well, and on this tour too, they got John Frusciante back on the guitar, and that was honestly they played a lot of great songs, a lot of songs I wanted to hear, but some of the best parts were just him and Flea with their instrumentals just jamming out with each other. It was pretty amazing. So
nice.
Great show.
Not to
Greg, did he have to stop the show to ask like someone overage to get his 19-year-old girlfriend a drink at the bar?
No, but he did at one point.
No.
And
he brought the beers in the back.
Just something I felt a little weird. Like it was weird that you would mention this, but like during one of the interludes, he says something to the effect of, you are all my children and you look real good tonight. And I'm just like,
oh yeah,
maybe a little on the nose for what you got going on in the larger sphere of media there, my friend. But
and the funny part is most people will just brush it off because and that's the saddest part about it.
And it wasn't a Freudian slip. It was meant to be that way. It was.
Yeah.
Listen,
hot
take right here, but that. I want to go on record right now and say that what he's got going on is fucking wrong. First off, second,
not in the eyes of the law, though, Corey.
I don't give a shit. Oh yeah, because the law is just
Is she
awesome.
19?
Yeah,
She's 19.
And he's like 62 or something like that. It's
Hey,
BS.
good for him, dude.
No, not
Right.
good.
What
Listen,
what if Dave did it?
no, I would stop listening. Probably, I would be
Stop, my
devastated.
man.
Dude,
I would.
stop
Corey,
it.
Oh,
my
look
man.
at- I like it.
You would totally. Oh,
Mr. Morality,
all right.
dude.
So,
Greg, real quick. Go, Corey, real quick. Explain what we're talking about, real quick.
Anthony
real quick.
Kiedis, lead singer of the Red Hot Chili Peppers, is reportedly dating a 19-year-old girl while he himself is, I think, like 60 or 62.
Yeah.
Like he's up
So
there.
we're ageism. We're all engaging in ageism, isn't that?
Yeah,
right?
dude. Listen, more than 10 years, it gets gross. I don't care. I don't know. I don't want to say I don't know, but that's where I know that.
I'm not saying like that. It like in my opinion, it's not right. Like I wouldn't do it. But on the flip side, like number one, if 10 years ago it was completely flipped the other way around. You know what I'm saying? So how many times like when you were younger? Now, granted, like when I was younger, I was doing heroin amongst other things, but like
Nice.
I would get
too.
like, you know, faded by girls who wanted older dudes. You know what I'm
Well-
saying? So it was flipped. You
Well,
know,
what about? See, here's the thing. God, we
Do
would
it.
not feel the same way if it was a
Yep.
young guy dating a hot older woman. None of us
right.
would.
That's not what
None
I
of us
thought you were
would.
gonna say.
right.
If it,
Well,
what do you
but-
mean? We'd be like, go,
Well,
bro.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I mean. We wouldn't
Society
feel
doesn't
like
even
we-
view it
right.
the same way when like a hot female teacher hooks up with their 16-year-old student. They don't even
I
get
wish-
penalized
I-
the same
Let's
way.
say
as
let's
dudes
keep it
would.
real here. Like that's because men protect the women. You know what I mean? So
True.
it's a little. It is different. The archetype is different. You know.
I got it.
I definitely don't look at Anthony Kiedis with the same respect as I once did. I got to say,
Correct.
that. I
Correct.
Well
still
said.
still think he's a phenomenal. You know, I'd go see him in concert, but there's definitely like, damn, dude, really? You know?
Yeah, I'm not gonna put him on the R. Kelly ban or anything, but like I won't even play his music unless it's.
Yeah,
I believe I can fly. I guess
it's weird, but it's not going to stop me from listening to Red Hot Chili Peppers or
Right.
going to see him in concert. No way.
No
All
one
right,
stopped boycotted Leonardo DiCaprio too. He does the same.
Yeah, he
thing,
sucks
you know?
too.
Yeah,
One more thing, Greg, not to piss in your Cheerios, but Shea Stadium was demolished. But
nah,
Citi
I
Field-
understand.
Citi Field is on top of, or Shea Stadium
Is the parking
was-
lot
is the parking lot, right?
And Citi Field is the new stadium that was built. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm a sucker for old stuff. You know, like
I hear
my ball club is still called the Indians in my heart. It's still called Jacobs Field,
I hear
and yeah,
Isn't that where Jimmy Hoffa is
could be.
buried under?
You never
Shea
know.
Stadium?
Allegedly.
Never know.
That's
I
a
know,
whole nother.
I know,
thing.
I know where he's at. So, but we're not going to talk about that.
All right,
I
boys.
agree with Janine. He's a pedophile, by the way. But okay, go ahead.
Let's
Sean.
get into possibly some more interesting stuff that we've already been talking about, because this has been pretty interesting so far. Tonight we are going to dive into the YSL Atlanta rap trials. YSL stands for Young Slime Life, as you can tell by Greg's his handle tonight. I'm going to give a quick little intro, background, some important points. I know Bill and Greg have a lot more information, and they're going to come at it from a couple different angles. Well-versed. Corey has, probably
Nothing.
not done any research like normal, but that's okay
No.
because he told us he wasn't, and he's just going to kind of poke some fun and make some like wild accusations and throw darts. So
I might not say anything. Who knows?
he might not say anything. I doubt that. But so, all right. So I have a couple like just notes here. So YSL stands for Young Slime Life. Okay. Jeffrey Williams is the actual name of Young Thug, who is the main person on trial. There's like 25-ish, 30 defendants in total, but Young Thug, aka Jeffrey Williams, is kind of the main guy. He's what the prosecution is purporting to be like the head of this criminal enterprise, essentially a gang. So it kind of all started back in 2015. Lil Wayne and Young Thug kind of had some beef, I guess, and Lil Wayne had the Carter albums, C standing for Crip, essentially, and Young Thug came out with the Barter albums, B as in blood. So there you go. That Lil Wayne's tour bus was shot up. Young Thug and Birdman were initially alleged to have done it, but later they found, I think his name was Pee Wee Roscoe is actually the one who shot up the bus. So that kind of one of the things that started it. But then there was the murder of Donovan Thomas, aka Big Nun. Is it Nut or Nun?
Big Nut. That's Big
With a
Nut.
T.
Nut.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, Big Nut. I
He
think
looks like a big
I love the
nut,
name.
too.
I'm
But he
so
was-
pissed.
That he's dead.
That you
Go on.
R.I.P. Big
So
Nut.
so he was murdered, and that's kind of what like really kicked everything in. He was indicted, I think, in 2022, but crimes reaching back to 2015. Young Thug would say, "Hey, I'm just an artist. I'm just a record label. I got no control over what the people who listen to my music." Corey, that's a large bug or whatever that is around you. Jeez.
Yeah. It's,
When
Flip that.
whoever watches this on YouTube later in the week, you're gonna love it. But he would say he was just a record label that he can't have no control over what people do. It's not a gang, anything like that. His attorney will tell you that Young Thug stands for truly humbled under God, which is fantastic. The Barter 6 album kind of threw direct shade on Lil Wayne's Carter albums. All in all, there was about, I think, 56 something odd counts in the indictment, all ranging from murder to guns to money laundering to trafficking. It's important that is a state indictment, right? Not a federal indictment. So I think there's some different regulations there. I think Greg will get a little more into that. But the biggest one being the murders, and I'm sure there were more murders. It wasn't just this, but they're saying that they rapped about the murders in their songs, and it's kind of like premeditated in that sense. Obviously, YSL and all the defendants are saying freedom of speech, and the prosecution, and even the previous judge, Judge Glanville, who we'll get into because he's no longer the judge, said like no. Then they used those, they played those songs and stuff in court. So I'll stop there. I have a bunch of other like just really funny tidbits that if you guys don't get to, I want to mention on the back end, but I'll stop there. And I think we're going to Bill next, if I'm not mistaken, and he's gonna go into it and get more deeply into it. So
Thanks, Sean. So, Sean, you're the last person that I would think would request to talk about the Young Slime gang, but I get it.
It's fascinating.
But it's really cool. I was excited when you brought up. But I actually didn't I didn't hear that version of with the Lil Wayne thing. I've always listened to Lil Wayne. I honestly thought he was a blood. I mean, he talks about being a blood. He wears red a lot. The Carter thing, I guess. But I thought it was they're also involved with on the other side of Atlanta. Like this big nut guy was in a gang that is essentially tied to what's the other dude's name over there? Some other Atlanta rapper. But Rich Homie Quan, if you guys know. No,
let me say this.
I don't know that.
Let me
guy,
say this. I actually don't know Lil Wayne, Crip or Blood. But I do know that a lot of the YSL stuff, and eventually we can get into YFN, which stands for Young Fly. Well, we can't really say on this podcast. That is
that's
direct,
the opposing gang. Yeah,
but within the Bloods, they're all
yes.
Bloods hating Bloods. So okay,
right. So I believe Wayne is a Blood, but he might be on that YFN side of it.
Okay,
but
maybe
I also know that Young Thug was brought up by Birdman through that syndicate.
And Lil Wayne and Birdman had beef forever, right?
Yeah, because he did him completely dirty, but whatever, he paid him off eventually, and made the situation right. But yeah, so the whole thing with this is, so this guy YSL Woody, which is kind of like he's kind of like the muscle, but like really the dumb guy you give the gun to when you're famous enough to have the dumb guy to give the gun to. He killed that little nut
Allegedly.
No, he admitted to it. Well, I guess
he recanted though. He recanted his story. That's
okay. We all know he fucking killed.
Yeah, but that's coming in later. That's part of the big deal with the trial, though.
So I watched his full interrogation, and this dude folds like a lawn chair. I mean, like as soon as he sits down, and I thought this guy, I want to see this. I want to see the psychology, how they break this tough guy down, and all this. He sits down. I need to go home tonight. It's like, oh, this guy. There was two of them got caught with a gun. They're both felons. They're not allowed to have guns. The first guy, I don't know his name. You might, Sean, but he said, "I want to talk to my lawyer." he took the 10 years. He's in jail right now. You know what I mean?
Is that
Then they
Gunna?
go to
I think that's Gunna.
I guess, and maybe he ended up snitching later too, but I don't know any of that. But so anyway, so then this guy comes and they're like, they're thinking he's going to be the harder one. He's immediately like, yeah, I want to go home tonight. So he begins to tell this story, you know, YSL, how it started, Young Thug's in charge of the gang, and it doesn't make any sense to me that this guy apparently hates Young Thug, YSL Woody, because Young Thug is kind of uses people. He's a bully, etc. So he's ready to throw him under the bus. He also told Young Thug's sister he was going to kill him when he sees him, and this is all before they got arrested. So I guess this Woody guy was not on good terms with Young Thug when this interrogation happened. So that's his justification. Now, where he comes from, you don't snitch no matter what. You know what I mean? So he's already broken the rules. You know what I mean? So he gets into this story, you know, it was orchestrated by Young Thug, and then he goes, I got to tell you guys something. If you let me go home tonight, I'll tell you right now, it's big news. And they're like, what? And he's like, I can't tell you. And then 2 minutes later, he's like, someone's gonna die tonight. He's like, someone's gonna die tonight. He's
like before it happened?
Yeah, tonight.
Oh, wow.
He's like, tonight. And he goes, it's Young Thug's birthday party at Diamonds. Okay, like running out the whole club, and they invited this guy there and Young Thug ordered him killed at this event. Woody and another guy, and this is from Woody. And so he goes, but I mean, he completely folds. Like they're like, well, I can't guarantee you can go home tonight, but maybe like I'll see what I can do. And he's like, all right, fine, this is what's gonna happen. And he just tells him the whole thing. So at that point, he loses all his leverage too. So now they really kind of got him because he's exposed so much shit that he's got to keep running his mouth, you know. And I know for a fact that he got immunity, but they also say that he has state immunity. They say that after this case that the feds could come
They can
get
go
him
after him federally, yeah.
because he tried to plead the fifth in court now. So he snitches all this stuff. He gets out. They bring him into the courtroom. All this trial stuff occurs. They bring him in the courtroom and he plays stupid like he doesn't even know his first name, you know, YSL Woody. And so they throw him right in jail for contempt because you said we brought you here to testify. He lasts 1 day in jail. Then he goes, all right, I'll testify. They bring him back out. However, so he tries to plead the fifth. My point is there was another guy who was going to testify who pled the fifth, and they said, you can't do that. Well, he said, well, there's I could get charged federally. I only have state immunity. And they let him go. Point being is Woody shouldn't have fired his lawyer, which he did on the spot.
Right.
Like an idiot. It represents himself, and then he does this when he could have just said the same thing. It's a mess, and I'm sure you guys can get into the freak show with all the antics, but the Woody guy is kind of what sparks this whole story off. And I will also say this too: these rappers are out of control.
So real quick on Little Woody, because there's a really funny part. Let me find it real quick. I have it right here. And then he says, oh, where is it? Okay. No. So there's a part, is it Little Woody that has is on the stand, on the witness stand. And he's like, yo, I'm way too high. Yeah, there it is. I got it.
No,
Right. That wasn't
that's
him?
the other dude.
It's another guy.
Yeah, that's
okay.
the other dude.
All right. We'll get it. Then I'll wait. I'll get into that then. But I do know that Little Woody, or YSL Woody, or Little Woody as he's called as well, he's the one accused of killing Big Nut, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay. And then he was the one, they held him in incarceration for the plea deal. But then when he got on the stand, he completely recanted. And but he's apparently like tried to claim he's got hearing problems, mental health, that he's like slow and like stuff.
And he's very sly.
Yeah,
and
he's got that like Southwest Southern slang drawl, and like just
one more thing is he's also the one that the judge brought into the private meeting.
Yes.
Okay. Without telling the defense attorney.
I have that.
That's where he allegedly said, "I killed Big Nut."
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? On my own, essentially.
We'll definitely touch on that in Greg's part or around his part, because that's an important legal part of it. So, all right, Greg, go ahead.
All right, and feel free to jump in on some of this stuff because I have just a wealth of information here. But what I felt like, especially for anyone that's not familiar or up to date on it, is we just go through a little timeline real quick of all this stuff. And so Bill kind of kicked it off with that whole thing. Fast forward to, if my screen will load here. May of 2022, right? So this is when they've been building this RICO case against Young Thug and YSL and all them, and he is the first one to be arrested. He's arrested on an array of RICO charges. 56 total indictment or counts in the original indictment, and he is arrested along with 27 other people in May of 2022.
Wild.
Gunner being the other big one.
Right, yeah.
That's
Gunner
famous.
was another one.
And Yak Gotti is another big name.
One. Yak
Is
Gotti.
he famous?
Yes.
I never heard of that dude.
I didn't know any of these guys were famous.
I keep hearing his
Apparently
name.
They are, so the district attorney of Fulton County in Georgia, Fannie Willis, is alleging, obviously, that
you may know that name, ladies and gentlemen.
You may know that name. She also, tried to bring federal charges against our former president as well. But yeah, so she is alleging that this Young Thug is the leader of this Young Slime Life operation. She has dubbed him King Slime, right? So, okay, a couple days after that, gonna
hold on, Greg, real quick
ahead.
about Fannie Willis. So she also is the one that is allegedly sleeping with all of her subordinates, right?
Correct.
Or is that at least the one subordinate? And then she also represented another YSL member called YSL Mondo.
Co-defendant, yeah.
Right, in 2015 on an aggravated battery case before she was the district attorney. I think that's just important for the...
Or I should say is not a co-defendant. You're right. He was just a member
right,
of
a previous,
YSL.
yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And there was like she defended him when she was in her private practice.
Correct.
And also made the comment to him at some point, it's off the record obviously, but something to the effect of, you better not make me look bad because when I'm district attorney, I'll come back and get your ass, basically.
Yeah, there you go. Great lady.
Yeah.
So, all right, go ahead.
A couple days after that, Gunna turns himself in with the whole RICO thing. This is, excuse me one moment. So, a couple days after that, right? So we're still in May of 2022. Young Thug got hit with more felony charges after his home was raided. So the cops found Percocets, hydrocodone, weapons, several illegal firearms, and an additional 7 felonies were tacked onto his RICO charges. The following month, he both him and Gunna have applied for bail. He was denied bail because prosecutors were basically labeling him as the head of the operation, the most dangerous part of the gang. They feared witness intimidation. They feared that he was going to flee.
Both of them, right, Greg?
Yes. And then a couple days after that, Gunna is releasing a statement from jail saying he's innocent. 2 months down the road, so now August of 2022, another 6 additional felony charges were added to Young Thug. So now he's got the 56 original count indictment under RICO. He's got the 7 from when his charges from when his house was raided, and then they hit him with another 6,
which are residually from Gunna snitching on him.
Right. So, participating in criminal street gang activity, violation of the Georgia Controlled Substances Act, firearm possession during a felony, possession of a machine gun, and other drug charges. Let's see. So fast forward from August to December of 2022, and Gunna reaches an Alford plea deal, right? And he is released from jail. Now, I don't know if everybody knows what an Alford plea is, but basically It is.
Isn't that like you're not admitting you did it, but you're saying like, hey, there's enough evidence that you could convict me,
right?
But
like
I didn't do it. Yeah,
exactly.
But it's different than no contest. It's better than no contest.
Right.
It's
because
like a loophole.
You're able to maintain your innocence. No contest just means you're throwing your hands up like, oh, well.
You're just saying like, hey, I'm innocent, but there's enough information that I could see how a jury could convict me.
Correct.
So I'm going to take this deal.
And it's from what I know, it's usually stipulated on an agreement with circumstances that have to apply for you to be able to be eligible.
Here's the thing. Okay, so typically when Alford pleas have occurred, in my experience with them and everything, one of the most famous Alford plea deals out there has to do with the West Memphis Three. Are you guys familiar with those three kids? Mm-hmm. So they had been in and out of prison, in and out of multiple appeals, incarcerated for years and years, and they were finally offered this Alford plea. And there's a series of famous documentaries that kind of chronicle the whole thing. But the Alford plea that was given to them, and this is after they've been in prison for 10 years already. This guy gets an Alford plea before the trial even starts.
Well,
right?
And so an Alford plea too, it's like pleading out to a lesser charge. And Aaron Hernandez did it too.
So, in the eyes of just, regular everyday people, that might not mean much. But what we're really looking at is what have you done behind closed doors, even though you're maintaining your innocence and you're maintaining that you're not a snitch or, whatever. What have you done behind closed doors to garner you an Alford plea? Right. Is my big question in this whole thing.
Well, I think, and let me just interject for a moment, because I think condition to that plea is he got time served, because he was held incarcerated for the entire time from 22 to whatever.
Well, this is at the end of 22. So he'd been incarcerated for about 7 months at this point.
Okay. And I think he got time served, if I'm not mistaken.
He did.
He got like 5 years.
He was credited with, even though he had been only under or behind bars for 7 months, he got credit for 1 year time served.
Which is
those at home thinking of doing a major crime and doing an Alford plea. He definitely snitched, or Young Thug would take an Alford plea. The point is he snitched against him in RICO.
But here's the thing too, is I agree with that, but there's a lot of information out there that him and Young Thug are not like totally at odds either. But there's a Young Thug released a song during all this that was happening called Jonesboro, which I guess is like maybe the projects where they grew up or something like that. And there's a line in there that says, "I can't trust him or miss him." So,
But also, Sean, Young Thug cannot say anything, even insinuating something negative for his case.
Right now. Correct.
Because
so wait till after.
And that's another big thing in this whole deal, right? That's
And real quick, Greg, too, like, I don't know, because you guys said you don't know Gunner that well. He's actually elevated his career, like, because usually you would think someone is going to be out of rap if they snitch. Like, he's now at a higher level with record sales than ever by like a mile.
Right, but according to just a couple things, and obviously there's no way to track this specifically, but I've also heard that a lot of people in the rap and hip hop game are just
he's kind of been blacklisted.
Kind of blacklisted.
He's still putting music out, and you're right, Bill. He's kind of become prolific in that sense, but they've kind of blacklisted him. Here's another quick thing. Steve, I don't know if I'm saying it right, Sadow, Sadow, which was Gunna's lawyer, is one of Daddy Donald Trump's lawyers too. Just I thought that was funny.
There are people that are boycotting him, but the mega stars aren't. I think he did a song. Who did he just did a huge song with? Somebody. Like Drake, he had a Disney show. He doesn't care if you snitch. He's just there are a lot of. What my point is, there's a lot of people that would still do it.
So he's released, right, and end of 2022. The in early 2023, so January 2023, another co-defendant, this is during court proceedings, it's during a hearing, not the actual trial itself, but during the hearing, and this is the first occasion of this, a YSL co-defendant walked across the Fulton County courtroom and basically dropped Percocets
in Young Thug's hand.
In Young Thug's hand. It's all on camera. Like he's literally
he jumped the rail.
He jumped the rail, and he does it. The bailiff is 4 feet away, if that. Like the bailiff literally sees what's happening, walks right over there, goes, "What's that?" And Young Thug just has a Percocet in his hand, and he hands it to the bailiff. Like, and this is all caught on camera. The dude was found with a bunch of other stuff too. He had a bunch of drugs on him, marijuana, different stuff. But yeah, so there's that. In May of 2023, and again, now during this whole time, like all that's happening is jury selection. So this is worth noting, is the longest jury selection in the history of the state of Georgia, or actually in the history of the country. It took 10 months to select this jury, and it is currently at 18 months, I believe, right now, is the longest trial in Georgia state history, and it is projected not to end until 2027 if all of the witnesses.
So on that note, there's roughly 400 witnesses, and they're almost halfway through. Is what I got is the report I found it from June of this year, which is crazy.
So this,
and then you got to think of like
Mm-hmm.
another year of appeals possibly too.
Right. Well, that's what they're
well, that jury's released at that point, but can I note too that Gunna is still signed by YSL Records, and I'm on their website, and it says Young Stoner Life very prolifically, not Slime, and it has Gunna merch for sale everywhere. I just thought that was a funny note, but
well, and here's the funny thing too is his defendant, or I'm sorry, his lawyer, Young Thug's lawyer, this dude has literally tried to paint this guy, and granted, this is what lawyers do, but
yeah, it's what
as
supposed to do.
The biggest saint in the world. Like he rose from the ashes of the ghetto. He was sleeping on dirt floors and all this, that, and the whole thug thing is truly humble under God, and his song Pushin' P, which is definitely about selling drugs, but
pushing positivity.
We push positivity around here. YSL does not stand for Young Slime Life or Young Stoner Life. It's actually just a play on Yves Saint Laurent, because their clothes look similar. The clothes that YSL
the clothing design. That's right.
Yeah. So it's crazy. Like all the they try to like whitewash everything. It's so funny.
Yeah.
Saint Laurent's gonna sue them too. When he's
that's what I'm saying. You can't be. They don't play around, man. Don't mess with them French, boy.
Is it Roger Steele? Is that the guy's name? Steele? That's Young.
Steele,
I know the last name is Steele.
Mm-hmm.
He's apparently though like very good.
Brian Steele is
he's a monster.
He's apparently
the best
very
attorney
good
in the state of Georgia.
He got
100%.
leaked on that whole ex parte meeting when the judge called.
Yep.
In the chambers, and he didn't get called. He found out about it because basically, I think what's his name's lawyer was pissed that he wasn't there either, and told Steele like, "Hey, you should know this," and like told the judge like, "Hey, that ain't right. I should have been there." And the judge wasn't even like upset that which we got to get into Judge Glanville too, but he wasn't even upset that he's getting called out for doing something that's like kind of illegal almost, like maybe not quite, but totally.
It's not fair to the defense. You can't do that. You can't make the defense
100%.
The judge was not even upset about that. He was just like, "Who told you? How did this leak out?" And when Steele wouldn't tell him, he found him in contempt and was going to throw him in jail. Luckily, all the other lawyers came to his defense, and they put in a motion to stay the judge's orders, and they did. And he probably won't see jail time, but
But the judge was removed by the Georgia Supreme Court that said it wasn't the ex parte communication, which means when a judge just speaks to one side of a case, right? Mm-hmm. It was how he reacted and treated the defense attorney.
Right.
Which for Steele, that's a huge up for him. He's got now a Supreme Court ruling in his favor.
Should we take a moment and talk about Judge Glanville real quick?
Well,
at this
I was
point, or do you wanna
gonna
go?
hit
Okay.
on a couple
All
other
right,
things
go ahead.
first, and then yes,
Go ahead.
because it kind of has to do with that. But yeah, so there was a period in mid 2023 where Young Thug was hospitalized during this trial. He dropped, like we already talked about, he dropped an album. Gunna dropped an album during this trial, both in 2023. In November of 2023, Judge Glanville ruled that song lyrics were not protected by the First Amendment, and that 17 sets of lyrics from different songs would be used in the prosecution against YSL.
I agree with them.
And here's the crazy part, whether you agree or not.
Stupid.
You have a super buttoned up judge that has to read a lot of these lyrics out loud, or they're playing these songs in court when the lyrics themselves, forget how incriminating they might be, just the bad words and like the context of it, like that's just funny to me.
But Young Thug is dancing while they're playing the song and stuff.
They all were,
stupid.
yeah.
That's dumb.
Yeah,
he shouldn't do that.
So yeah, he ruled that those can be used as evidence, right? In December of 2023, another co-defendant, which it's worth noting too at this point. So 26 original people got indicted, and they only ended up bringing a total of 6 to trial, right?
20 snitches. Got it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You do the math, right? Yeah, so another co-defendant, Shannon Stillwell, was stabbed multiple times while incarcerated in Fulton County Jail. In January of this year, one of the co-founders of YSL declared on the stand that Young Thug was the founding member of, and that it is a criminal enterprise as well as a record label. They play his music in court. The judge reads the lyrics in court. In February of this year, one of the defense attorneys was arrested on unrelated gang charges. Right. She was apparently like tipped somebody off that they were going to be prosecuted for something, again, unrelated.
I think her name was Nicole Fagan.
Yeah, Nicole Fagan, but yeah. So she's arrested.
She got indicted.
Atlanta is a wild city.
She let it leak. Yeah, she basically like told him like, hey, watch out, you're about to get arrested.
Right.
She got indicted for that. Yeah.
Again, also in February of this year, Young Thug was identified as an alleged gunman in a 911 phone call from this is from 2013, shooting outside a woman's house in Atlanta. March of this year, they were